Hello and welcome to the Empowering Family Caregivers Show, brought to you by eCareDiary.com. My name is Susan Baida and I'm the co-founder as well as the host of this show. Thank you for joining us today. The focus and topic of our show will be about restorative practices through yoga for caregivers as well as our elders. And as our guest today to talk about this is Nancy O'Brien, who actually gave a wonderful demonstration and lecture that, and through that, I think, demonstration, we learned about you and about all that you do and where you work. So I'll tell the audience a little bit about Nancy. Nancy O'Brien is a certified yoga instructor who developed wellness and yoga programs for senior centers, hospitals, as well as clinics. And she's certified by the Arthritis Foundation to present its exercise and Tai Chi programs. And I'm really very curious about that, too, because I have some members of my family who have arthritis. She's a former editor, and she writes on integrative health topics for Yoga Journal and Yoga Therapy Today. And you can get more information about Nancy at nancyobrien.yoga.com. And that's without the apostrophe. So nancyobrien.yoga.com. Welcome, Nancy.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Oh, it's wonderful to be here, and I'm feeling relaxed already. So, Nancy, as caregivers, so we're often drained and we're often emotionally very exhausted. And at these times, it's very difficult to get to a yoga class. I can't tell you how many times I hear from caregivers, well, how can I go and do these things if I can't even get respite or someone to help me out? So is there something fast and effective that caregivers can do at home?
The fastest and most effective method that yoga and the mind-body practices teach is a deep, full relaxation. A deep, full exhalation is what I mean, leading to more relaxation.
Right.
And if we could do it right now, just take a nice deep breath, feel like you're breathing in through all the pores of your body, and as you exhale, make that exhalation a little longer than the inhalation. And draw the belly and the spine in and just squeeze that air out like you're wringing out a towel, and then inhale. And exhale. Focus on the exhalation. Feel very grounded through that exhalation. And you can even say something like, let go, let go. And if you do that throughout the day and throughout the night, then it just kind of gives you that tiny, tiny little mini break that is going to help you keep from building the stress.
Right. How many minutes should we do that for?
One breath, one mindful breath can really just relax the whole body.
Yeah, it just did that.
But if you, yeah, did it?
Yes, it did.
And if you were to sit even for and take 3 mindful breaths, you are really, becoming aware, bringing some compassion to yourself, and kind of cutting off that cycle of worry and fear and exhaustion and everything, and restoring yourself even just a little bit. Makes a huge difference.
Let's talk about emotions, because caregivers, whoever they are, whether it's elderly loved ones or someone suffering from a long-term illness, they go through a range of emotions, fear and anger and just frustration. And I think even if we get support from support groups, I mean, these emotions don't lose their hold on us. I mean, it's very hard also to watch someone you love suffer as well. And so tell us about some mind-body practices that you teach to help us through these very difficult type of emotions.
The wonderful thing about yoga and the Eastern tradition is a concept of accepting how you are. So the anger, the exhaustion, the frustration, the desire to see someone feeling better when they're not, allowing that to be part of the moment that you're in. That deep breath allows you to kind of ground in that. And then as you exhale, you can think of the opposite of that. For instance, if you're very angry about something, allow yourself to be angry. Angry is a force. It can be very powerful. And you can allow that yourself to settle into that. And then think of the opposite of that, like, let's say we want to choose kindness. as kind of the flip side of anger, something that accompanies anger all the time. And in many Eastern traditions, it is considered kind of the flip side.
Opposite, yeah.
So you exhale and you think of kindness, kindness toward yourself, compassion for yourself, but also kindness toward the source of your anger, the insurance company or the drugstore that didn't deliver the right,
Right.
So kindness, as you take these deep breaths, you allow the anger to be, and then wish kindness for yourself and even for the other person who you're angry at. With sadness, the flip side of sadness is integrity and dignity. So all that sadness that you carry, especially if your loved one is really suffering or the person that you care for, the flip side of that is integrity and dignity.
I would have thought it would have been happiness.
No, in the Eastern tradition, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
In yoga, Chinese medicine, Qigong, those traditions, different words, but the way that I like to think of it that served me mostly when I was a caregiver with my parents was the idea of sadness, allowing that sadness to be, and then integrity and dignity. So you're able to kind of take the dignity with you of this person,
Right.
who you love, who is perhaps suffering, and allow that to be full and whole inside you. And it's just so that's just one of the ways of dealing with the difficult emotions.
So it sounds to me like it's about bringing you back into balance. So
It is.
It's, having these extreme emotions and then countering them with these other positive emotions.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Understanding that they come together, that they accompany each other.
Right.
Anger and kindness, sadness and dignity, fear and wisdom.
Right. Okay. Thank you. That's fascinating.
Mm.
Now let's talk a little bit about caregivers often can't get help, and sometimes they even are reluctant to ask for help, and they become very isolated and frustrated. How do you think that they can find peace and tranquility in the midst of this whole experience?
Well, I understand that many caregivers are not able to get to a yoga class or a meditation class, and it's wonderful what you are doing here through eCareDiary. The isolation that we all often feel can be addressed by telling the stories on
Right.
eCareDiary. From making a live connection with someone online. If you're, watching this on your computer, you have a computer, there are so many wonderful interactive sites online where you can tell your story. A great place for a source for all this, in addition to eCareDiary. And I don't mean to be selling a car here or anything, but another really, really good one is changingaging.org.
I think I've heard of them.
They
Yes, okay.
are wonderful. Dr. William H. Thomas, who is the one who kind of invented Eden Alternative Nursing Homes, bringing in the pets, bringing in the aromatherapy.
Of course, yes.
He's out there still doing incredible stuff.
Yes.
And so that's a good place for sources. But you can write, you can interact, you can blog, you can ask questions, you can listen to experts, or you can do guided meditations or visualizations online. On my website for free, you can listen to a deep relaxation.
Oh, wonderful.
And there are other things like that through BeliefNet, Oprah,
Yeah.
Huffington Post has them sometimes. So you don't have to feel as isolated with this technology.
Absolutely. I'm very big, as you can tell, a big fan of it because,
Right.
Oftentimes, and that's why we created this show, is
so great.
because, oftentimes caregivers can't get away, and this
Right.
is the best way to do it. So let's talk a little bit about what you do. Now, you mentioned that you were certified by the Arthritis Foundation. I'm very interested in learning about that. So you were certified to teach practices to help our arthritic patients through their pain?
Yes. I knew that yoga, through my own experience with living with chronic pain from a medical issue that happened 12 years ago, I knew how effective yoga could be, and deep breathing and relaxation and meditation in addressing the issues of chronic pain. And So I teach a yoga for arthritis workshop at Integral Yoga here, and it's a kind of a quarterly thing. And as a result of that, the Arthritis Foundation invited me to take their exercise program and to become certified. So I learned all kinds of things about arthritis and what they have shown through evidence that is effective with pain, flexibility, strength, all of those things, and so it all works together.
Could you share an example of like what type of an exercise an arthritic patient would do?
Right. Well, the Arthritis Foundation, and the reason I love what they're doing so much, and they have aquatic for arthritis. They have, they don't have yoga for arthritis yet, but someday soon I hope. They have Tai Chi for arthritis, and this exercise program that I am certified in integrates a lot of the yogic principles. So it's breath-based movement. And whenever you're combining the breath and the body and the mind together, then you're really doing yoga. Right. So that's why I love being able to bring these practices through the workshops or senior centers or this, to people, because there is so much pain relief and relief of symptoms and greater flexibility and greater strength and less isolation through these mind-body practices like breath.
Right.
We could do something now if you wanted to.
Well, I actually want to also bring up, you and I were talking about bed yoga too, and you had, I know that you teach yoga and these practices in hospitals and clinics. Can you tell us about bed yoga, and maybe we can take some of those and I don't know if we can demonstrate.
Well, bed yoga, for instance, now, we could do a very simple thing.
Okay.
So move. If you're sitting, move. If you're laying down, just move around and loosen yourself up a little bit. And then bring your shoulders up to your ears and take a nice deep breath so the shoulders are like riding the wave of the breath. And then, if you can, press the shoulders into the bed or towards each other, and reach the elbows down and exhale. Squeeze out that air. Bring the ribs and the belly in. Inhale, shoulders up, back and down. If you're in the bed, you can do this. Up to the ears, press the shoulders into the bed. Notice how the chest opens up and your heart lightens. And exhale, squeeze those shoulder blades together. Shake out the hands wherever you are. Interlace the fingers. And move into figure 8, so you're moving the fingers and the wrists, and then the opposite direction, and shake it out. And here's one thing that we often do: massage your hands, or you can massage the hands of the person that you're caring for, but especially your own hands, because you deserve it. Right. Look at your hands, and just imagine all that they've done already today. And say to your hands, "Thank you, hands." Gratitude for what the body is able to do.
That's wonderful. That sounds, that's very relieving. So we have a few minutes left. Let's talk about sleeping. I think caregivers, because of anxiety and stress, I think a lot of them have trouble sleeping, and I myself personally don't like taking medications to help me sleep. So what would you suggest to help caregivers get a better night?
The most powerful practice that I have found for myself and for others who I work with is called deep relaxation. This is evoking the relaxation response that Herbert Benson coined, that term, probably decades ago up in Massachusetts. And it's a very simple process, 5 steps. You don't have to believe in it. You can just go through the steps. First, you tense and release all parts of the body when you're in bed and you can't sleep. And then you scan the body, starting at the feet, and just imagine whatever you want, a wave of wonderful ocean water in the toes, and then scan all the way up through the head and the nose, and then you focus on the mind and let everything go like clouds, and then you go deeper. And this deep relaxation can help you sleep. Also, the deep relaxation, or if you're meditating when you're trying to sleep and you can't sleep, means that you're using that clear, beautiful time to relax you instead of laying there getting all worried about the fact that you can't sleep.
Thank you so much. These are wonderful tips. I want to remind the audience that you can learn more about Nancy O'Brien at nancyobrien.yoga.com, and it's NANCYOBRIEN yoga.com. I want to thank you so much for joining us today. You completely relaxed me. I could really use that often. And I want to thank our audience for joining us too. Please feel free to rewind and practice some of these techniques on yourself and your loved ones. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.